Hi, we don't have your camera.
Hello, this is Craig Sams and Satish Kumar celebrating Grow Local Live on today, International Permaculture Day. Satish, you've just finished 40 years, or not finished, you've just completed 40th year of editing Resurgence magazine. There isn't a concept of perma-publishing, but that is quite long for one person and one magazine to be in such a close relationship.
Yes. It is a perma-publishing because it is a kind of publishing which has its own rhythm and it has its own harmony. So in a way, Resurgence is implicitly a permaculture magazine. Okay. And therefore perma-publishing, permaculture is part of the same thing. Because we need to build systems which can sustain themselves and remain resilient. We have developed Resurgence publication in such a way that it is a not-for-profit, so it's a charity, Resurgence Trust, and in 40 years of my editing, we have never been under any debt or loan, or we have never been in kind of red, so to speak. So perma-publishing means that you should work and publish and do your things within your means rather than extending out of your means. So in the same way as we live within the means of the earth, that's a permaculture. And so what your garden and your land and your earth can provide you, you live within it. So in the same way as the magazine, what our subscribers and our members give us, within that income, we have maintained the magazine. When the number of subscribers grow, then the number of editions grow or number of copies grow, but we keep within the income. We don't spend any more than our income. That's the principle.
Well, I've been a subscriber almost since the beginning, off and on, but it's a regular part of my life. I think you might want to mention that there is an offer for Permaculture Day. If subscribers now get £5 off the annual subscription fee.
That's right.
Which,
so we are making this special offer on Permaculture Day for anyone who is listening to this program or participating in the International Permaculture Day. They can become members and subscribe to Resurgence, £5 off. So instead of £30, you pay only £25. And we are also collaborating with Permaculture Day in every way and promoting permaculture through our magazine and through our website.
Well, almost every issue has something that is within the philosophical arena of permaculture. So
exactly.
It's and the essence of the magazine is about.
And I have developed a trinity in the magazine which relates to permaculture in a bigger way. And that trinity is soil, soul, and society.
So can you expand on that a bit? Because for those who haven't seen your TED lecture, although there is an excellent TED lecture of Satish explaining this, but...
because any great movement try to encapsulate their spirit and their mission and their vision in 3 words. Like the French Revolution had égalité, liberté, fraternité. The New Age movement had mind, body, spirit. The Christian religion has Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. So 3 words generally encapsulate the vision and the mission of a movement. So we are now in the movement of organic, more holistic, ecological, sustainable, resilient future. How do we describe it? So I have made these 3 words, soil. So we put, because we come from the earth and we return to the earth. All our food, our clothes, our housing, our energy, everything comes from the earth. And therefore we put soil before anything else, soil at the top. If we take care of the soil, soil will take care of us. This is the key. And therefore people being in touch with the soil, touching the soil, even a little bed in your windowsill with the soil, and a little compost and a little plant. So being in touch with nature. So soil word represents the natural world. And so when you touch the soil, you are walking on the soil, you are walking on the earth, walking among the trees, you are related to nature. And you are not seeing yourself as separate, disconnected. Humanity separate from nature. Nature there for us to control, to use, to exploit, but we are separate. So I put soil first. And then I also include that we also need to have a soil. Soil needs to have a soul quality, because soil has soul. Soil is soulful. Soil is alive. Soil is not machine, but it's organic organism. And therefore, those soul qualities are represented through our relatedness, our wholeness, our compassion, our love of nature, our love of humanity, our love of higher values than just existence or just subsistence. And so I put soul in the middle. And then I say, but we also need to take care of humanity. So social justice, social equality, social care, people looked after. So whether you are old or young or ill or handicapped or whatever condition you are, if you are a human being, you are a member of the human family. And therefore, we are one together and we take care of each other. This mutual interest. So this way, soil, soul, society. These are the three words, and Resurgence magazine had been promoting these concepts of ecology, of spirituality, and of social justice as a continuum, rather than three fragmented movements.
Yeah.
Because some people only emphasize social justice, other people only say environmental justice and sustainability.
Yeah.
Some people will say only spiritual values. I say these are three connected.
Yeah, and the three being greater than the sum of its parts.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
This is the local food
Yeah.
day celebration
Yeah.
of the International Permaculture Day.
Yeah.
You live in Devon.
Yeah.
I mean, this is quite, but you're not near Totnes, which is sort of the transition town,
Yeah.
the home
Yeah.
of transition towns, where, if you like, the localist and the locavore movement really sort of has...
Yeah. No, actually, I started Schumacher College, which is at Dartington, not far from Totnes. And we collaborate with Transition Town movement very closely. So all our teachers who come to teach at Schumacher College go and speak in town, in Totnes, and the audience of the town, and permaculture movement, as well as a Transition Town movement. They are both connected. Permaculture particularly because Transition Town movement has a wing where we say that if somebody has a garden but doesn't have time or skill to garden, and other people don't have a garden, but have a time and skill to garden, we match them together. And that's the kind of permaculture way of Transition Town. And we collaborate with them. So Schumacher College, Transition Town movement, and permaculture are in a kind of, you can say, working together.
And it sort of re-emphasizes soil, soul, and society.
Exactly.
Just sharing a garden and having people who... Well, I have... just outside of Hastings, slightly larger than a garden. It's 8 hectares, of which most is woodland, but there are a couple of acres of field and 3 acres of orchard.
Yeah.
And we now have a group called Stonelink Community Growers.
Yes.
You'll see them tomorrow.
Yes.
It's 20 people
yes.
who come and plant vegetables. We have artichokes and miscanthus green, and it's becoming more permanent as it evolves. Some crops, lettuces, you can't grow in a permaculture way, but we're following very strictly the Oliver Dowding no dig system.
Yeah.
So is it Charles Dowding?
Yeah. But also the natural farming movement of Masanobu Fukuoka and all that is part of the no digging and disturbing soil as minimum as possible, as little as possible. But in your work, you have also developed a new way of composting and carbon sequestration through biochar. Are you using that method in your garden and in your orchard?
Well, in my garden since 2010,
Yes.
we've applied a kilo of biochar per square meter of
Yes.
ground.
Yes.
We did that in April of last year
Yes.
at the farm.
Yes.
The community growing group
Yeah.
are just saying the difference this year from last year,
Yeah.
because it's quite heavy clay.
Yes.
But now there are worms all through it. There's the soil has become alive.
Yes.
It's not just, worms are the sort of top of the food chain in soil.
That's
What
right.
you can't see are the mycorrhizal fungi, the actinomycetes bacteria, the whole army of, I shouldn't use the word army because they're cooperative, not
Yeah.
combative,
Yeah.
but the whole collection of different microorganisms
Yes.
that collaborate with the plant to make it grow and keep
Yeah.
it healthy and also defend it from the pathogenic
Yeah.
fungi and organisms
Yeah.
that otherwise you need to use fungicides and pesticides and all that sort
Yes.
of thing.
That's right.
What I also find, though, going on to the soul and society side,
Yeah.
I had an allotment for 20 years, 19 years. I just gave it up
Yeah.
a few months ago
Yeah.
because when we work at the community group,
Yes.
it's a much bigger space. If
Yeah.
you divide it by 20, it's still much like five allotments each.
Yeah.
But because everybody's sharing the work, we
Yeah.
come there, there's a list of jobs to
Yeah.
do.
Yes.
When you've done something, and it's all decided socially.
Yes.
But at any given time, there are 2 or 3 people working on any one. Whereas with an allotment, you go to the allotment, you say, hello, John, hello, Mary, or whatever, and then it's you and the couch grass and the weeds, but it's a lonely
job.
way of doing it.
Yeah.
This bringing it together like that, actually, many hands make light work, comes to mind, and everybody really enjoys it. And there's a real community building around it. Now that it's spring and things are really starting to happen, the joy is palpable.
I like it very much because I think working together it also builds a community, a sense of community, so sense of place with the garden and a sense of community of working together. So I think it's a wonderful model that you have developed. But can you also say that at the moment our world at large, China, America, Europe, we are a hugely meat-eating and meat-growing society. In a permaculture worldview, what kind of diet will be a sustainable diet which does not create global warming and climate change and carbon emission into the atmosphere? What kind of food system will you advocate with your experience?
I'm vegetarian.
Yeah.
I know you are. But I'm not strict.
Yeah.
And in fact, I even had lamb in January in the Middle East in a certain situation where it just felt, I was comfortable with it.
Yeah.
If everybody ate the amount of meat that you never eat meat, I eat it like once every few years.
Yeah.
But even if people just ate meat once or twice a week, and this is what Paul McCartney tried to do with Meat-Free Mondays, was just get people to stop for one day a week.
Yeah.
But if we went back to the sort of level of meat consumption of our healthy great-grandparents or grandparents, it would free up billions, not millions, billions of hectares of land.
Yeah.
If we let that land just regenerate with forest, that would take so much carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere so quickly that we would be at the risk of a new ice age.
Yes.
Okay, so there has to be a balance. There are so many people on the planet that whatever we do can have a very negative effect on exacerbating global warming or actually create global cooling, which sounds eccentric, but it's happened before. We had a little ice age when the world's population dropped in the 1400s and 1500s. So it can go both ways. But what we need to do now is the most painless way. If you went to somebody and said, okay, give up your car, give up air travel, or reduce your meat consumption by 50%, most people would make that choice. And the way you make that choice is by putting a price on carbon emissions. meat eating is huge carbon emissions.
Yeah.
It's a major contributor to climate change.
Yeah.
Cut that in half.
Yeah.
And then you don't need to worry so much about
Yeah.
air travel and the other things. And
Yeah.
that's, at the moment, we don't make those choices
Yeah.
on the basis
Yeah.
of the market, because the one key thing, carbon, is it's being priced, it's not being priced, it's being left out. And the price is being paid, but it will be paid by our children, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren, who will have to deal with the climate catastrophe that potentially could come.
No, that's a wonderful, what you are talking about is a good way to deal with the situation that we are faced with, catastrophic situation of climate change. And so in this billions of hectares of land, so you will plant trees, more like Bengali Mathai did, a green belt movement. Is that the kind of vision you have?
Yes, and the Men of the Trees, which was founded in 1923.
Yes.
Richardson, Barb, Baker. They've planted 3 trillion trees across Britain, the U.S.
Yeah.
They restored the Dust Bowl in the 1930s.
Yeah.
You know, trees can do a lot more to help the climate than sheep or goats or cattle.
Yeah.
And if you look, there are 3 billion hectares of pasture. There are 1.5 billion hectares of arable land.
Yeah.
Of that 1.5 billion, 80% of that land is growing soybeans and corn to feed to animals for people to eat. It is so inefficient. Even Bill Gates said recently, we should look at the vegetarian alternatives to meat. If people want that particular texture, we can make it. It's not difficult.
Impossible.
It's not impossible, but you have so many people, so many industries, agribusiness, the meat business, McDonald's, locked in to this production system that requires genetic modified soy, requires BT corn. Get rid of all that. I'm from Nebraska originally in the Midwest. My grandfather plowed the prairie. It had 100 tons of carbon per hectare. If you go there now, it has 5 tons. All the rest of that carbon went into the atmosphere and is part of the problem that we all face now. And it's so easy to put it back.
So I think the permaculture movement need to embrace this perspective quite closely, because at the moment permaculture has more focus and emphasis on small garden and how energy and composting and all that, all connected system is very beautifully presented. But I don't think they have enough emphasis on this reducing our meat consumption and increasing our tree cover.
Certainly, we work quite closely with Sarah Pugh, who's the permaculture teacher in Bristol. There's a strong vegetarian streak, inevitably, people who care about the environment and care about the planet. What I think, I'd agree on is that as a movement, it's looking at issues like agroforestry and sustainable production systems. There needs to be, and I think with all of these constructive alternatives, there needs to be an edge of combativeness, if you like, to create a critical debate with the other side. Because, to you and me, these solutions are pretty obvious. And yet we still have huge subsidies that are leading to forests being chopped down and burned because it's carbon neutral, but it's not carbon neutral if it takes 100 years for the trees to recapture that carbon. That's not.
But one problem has been that the meat industry has created a mindset that you need for your health and you need for your energy great amount of protein and the meat, which gives you energy. I was invited to speak in a primary school, and one child asked me a question, "What is your favorite animal?" And I said, "An elephant." So the child asked me, "Why?" I said, "Elephant is vegetarian, and yet it can grow so big. So you don't have to eat meat to be big." And then the child asked me, "And what's your second favorite animal?" And I said, "A horse." "Why?" "A horse is so powerful, and yet is a vegetarian. So this idea which meat industry has given us, that in order to be big and strong and energetic, you need to eat a lot of meat. How do we, that mindset, that conditioning, that advertising which people have been fed, how do we combat that and make people think that you don't need so much meat to be strong and to be healthy?
Well, a hamburger in the United States has cost 99 cents for the last 20 years.
Yes.
And the reason is because agricultural policy subsidizes the feed for animals, everything, the whole supply chain to keep hamburgers cheap.
Yeah.
They don't subsidize vegetables. They don't subsidize tree fruits or nuts. They don't subsidize the foods that another branch of government says, eat more of this.
Yes, yes.
And so we end up, following the price signal, which is that you can go into a McDonald's and buy 4 hamburgers and milkshakes and Coca-Cola, and you're under $20. But it's completely, the Coke is sweetened with subsidized corn syrup. The meat is fed on subsidized corn and soybeans. The whole process is artificial.
Yes.
And if you turned it round and said, okay, we won't subsidize anything, and we will charge the carbon, the embedded carbon in that. Then a hamburger would be $5 or $6.
Yes.
And a veggie burger would be $2.
Yes.
And then people would make their choices on a real and honest basis, not an artificial basis. And I think that's the challenge, because we're doing the right thing, but government is being controlled or influenced excessively by people who are pushing for the wrong thing.
You were vice president of the Soil Association, and you have been organic farmer and food distributor and so many things. Now, still there is an organic idea of organic and organic food or organic agriculture. Still very small minority of farmers taking it up. Still there is a strong attraction towards large-scale farms, big factory farms, and chemical use still strong. What do you think, why it is so strong, and why people are not being attracted towards organic and more permaculture way of doing farming?
I'm an optimist, but I have been for quite a long time.
Yes.
And I just contain my disappointment. Again, government policy subsidizes industrial farming.
Yes.
In 1947, the Soil Association fought a desperate battle to have Britain's future agriculture policy organic. ICI fought, advertised massively, and won the argument, and the government subsidized a bag of chemical fertilizer, 10 shillings, 50p. It was a lot of money in those days. So farmers went down the chemical route. The minute they did that, they started getting fungal diseases. The weeds grew fantastically well with chemical fertilizers. So they needed herbicides and fungicides, and they were trapped. And as any farmer who has converted back to organic, once you've done the damage, it's like healing any sickness. It takes time, and you have to suffer in the process. So, and the government doesn't do enough to alleviate that suffering of farmers who want to convert. Or it gives them a bit of money and then leaves them. So I think, again, it's the consumer, the customer, I like to use the word citizen customer, because people who are citizens of a society, the consumer is just thinking about themselves. They look at the price, they stick it in their mouth. The citizen thinks about the whole story behind everything that they buy, everything that they do. And that mentality is emerging very strongly, I think. And there's a shared community, and the internet helps with that, that helps ideas to spread. I mean, I mentioned earlier Bojka Janus. We have a blossoming relationship with the Permaculture Association in Slovenia, who are applying biochar and developing a whole network of biochar users and feeding back their results to us. It's very exciting. And at Carbon Gold, where we supply her with that stuff, we're we thought, why Slovenia? But it's just, that happens to be one of many places where the permaculture idea, the organic idea, and the broader social implications are no dig. That's all beginning to really make headway. I mean, her book just came out. It's in Slovenian. I can't read it, but it's a beautifully produced book. And you just think, this is happening all over the world. And today, of course,
is Permaculture Day. So let us hope that this day, and as the weeks and months and years come, the idea of permaculture, of no-dig gardening, of natural farming, of Masanobu Fukuoka's message, of Bill Mollison's message, and Slovenian example, and many good examples of your biochar, all these things gain ground. But on the other hand, the powers of the corporations is so strong. So our movements, which are very idealistic and very visionary and have a strong ideals for caring of the earth. But when you take corporations such as Monsanto, who want to spread BT, you mentioned corn and cotton and all that. And their power is so strong that, say, for example, in the United States, the lobbying power of companies like Monsanto and genetically engineered seeds is so powerful. How our organic and permaculture movement can counter that kind of power?
Well, if there are a few examples. Kenya has just said no GM in our country because it's a nation of smallholder farmers. They're making huge progress in agroforestry and organic farming, and they have cash crops and they have subsistence crops, so the farmers can make money and feed their family. So that's resilience. You may not get the cash crop for whatever reason, but you've still got the food to feed your family. And this is happening right across Europe. It's right across the world. I mean, my experience with Green and Black's chocolate was when we started, we were working with smallholder farmers, and the whole mental paradigm was we have to industrialize cocoa production. We need big plantations with barracks for the workers. And that's gone. The big chocolate companies have all realized that actually smallholders are better for them. It's better to have a resilient supply chain. The reason it all went is because in Brazil, 1/4 of the cocoa crop died in 1 year from a disease called witch's broom. And they realized actually growing things like that doesn't make sense. If you look at the farm I was born on in Nebraska, my grandfather grew corn, oats, wheat. He had chickens. He had cows. He had pigs. It was a biodiverse. It was a biodiverse system. And nobody had to subsidize him. He made good money every year farming as a mixed farm business. The reason we have this now is because the big corporations, as you said, agribusiness have, big is beautiful. If you can sell, and Roundup Ready, the whole GM system is predicated on getting rid of small farmers and having massive production systems. But then somebody actually has to pay. In Argentina, people are paying with all the diseases from Roundup. In America, it's the taxpayer who pays. In Europe, it's the taxpayer who pays. Most of our the CAP, Common Agriculture Policy money, goes to the biggest farmers in Europe. The European auditors have refused to sign off the EU accounts because that money just disappears. It's a fraud. But it's a fraud that affects all of us. We pay twice, once with our taxes and once with our crappy diet.
And then with the environment. Then our health.
Our health and
then
the environment.
And the problem, not only that, problem also is there's a question of democracy. If you put millions of farmers and their livelihood and their crops and their seeds in the hands of few big corporations, then people have become dependent on these few corporations because these seeds cannot be reused. Every season, the farmers have to go back to the big companies and big corporations to get their seeds. So the freedom of the farmer is taken away. and they cannot save their seeds, they cannot reuse their seeds. And that to me is a big deficit of this big corporations, Monsanto type.
Well, I think, again, and this is where World Permaculture Day is an example of the way that alternative structures are not just being created, but really thriving, prospering. The message is getting out there, and it's that instigates change. And I think, we just have to keep doing the right thing.
And I agree with you that we have to keep doing the right thing. And you don't know when the change will come. When the tipping point reaches and a large number of people have this consciousness of living close to nature and more natural life, more organic life, then change can come very quickly. I mean, who knew that one day Nelson Mandela will be free and president, and Barack Obama, a black man in the White House? Who knew? Such big changes have taken place in the past. So I think that the idea of a more close to nature, more organic and more permaculture way of producing food is something which, as you are an optimist, I'm also optimist. So let's hope that happens.
Right on.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, and happy International Permaculture Day. Live local, grow local, eat local.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Within the philosophical arena of permaculture. So
exactly.
It's and the essence of the magazine is about.
And I have developed a trinity in the magazine which relates to permaculture in a bigger way, and that trinity is soil, soul, and society.
So can you expand on that a bit? Because for those who haven't seen your TED lecture, although there is an excellent TED lecture of Satish explaining this, but
because any great movement try to encapsulate their spirit and their mission and their vision in 3 words, like the French Revolution had égalité, liberté, fraternité. The New Age movement had mind, body, spirit.
I've been a subscriber almost since the beginning, off and on, but it's a regular part of my life. I think you might want to mention that there is an offer for Permaculture Day. If subscribers now get £5 off the annual subscription fee.
That's right.
Which
So we are making this special offer on Permaculture Day for anyone who is listening to this program or participating in the International Permaculture Day. They can become members and subscribe to Resurgence, £5 off. So instead of £30, you pay only £25. And we are also collaborating with Permaculture Day in every way and promoting permaculture through our magazine and through our website.
Well, almost every issue has something that is
never been in kind of red, so to speak. So perma publishing means that you should work and publish and do your things within your means rather than extending out of your means. So in the same way as we live within the means of the earth, that's a permaculture. And so what your garden and your land and your earth can provide you, you live within it. So in the same way as the magazine, what our subscribers and our members give us, within that income, we have maintained the magazine. When the number of subscribers grow, then the number of editions grow or number of copies grow, but we keep within the income. We don't spend any more than our income. That's the principle.
Well,
Hi, we don't have your camera.
Hello. This is Craig Sams and Satish Kumar celebrating Grow Local Live on today, International Permaculture Day. Satish, you've just finished 40 years, or not finished, you've just completed 40th year of editing Resurgence magazine. There isn't a concept of perma-publishing, but that is quite long for one person and one magazine
Yes.
to be in such a close relationship.
Yes, yes. It is a perma publishing because it is a kind of publishing which has its own rhythm and it has its own harmony. So in a way, Resurgence is implicitly a permaculture magazine. Okay. And therefore perma publishing, permaculture is part of the same thing. Because we need to build systems which can sustain themselves and remain resilient. We have developed Resurgence publication in such a way that it is a not-for-profit, so it's a charity, Resurgence Trust, and in 40 years of my editing, we have never been under any debt or loan, or we have